YouTubers? This is Anonymous T. Hope you're having an amazing day today. So today I'm reacting to NBC's show, The Courtship, and it is very interesting. It is a very interesting show. So it took inspiration from Jane Austen's books back into, the early time period, like your Bridgertons and so forth. The show appears to be filmed in England, taking place in a castle where the lead, is Miss Remy, who is looking for traditional forms of courtship and not what is the mess of the 2020s of conventional and unconventional dating practices. So what happens is they give us a little introduction about her. She's from Seattle. She is a software engineer. She's a former Seattle Seahawks cheerleader and just came off of a breakup. And then they have like a family court that's going to also help in some of her decisions to choose who is the best suitor for her at the end and potentially get engaged. It is very much a diverse group of men, which I thought was very nice to see. Also, it was a nice change from, the Bachelors, the Bachelorettes, the Love Islands of the world, and even Joe Millionaire. It was a nice change because it was a different approach to dating of simply going back to the basics, not having all of the glitz and glamour and the, whole fairy tale romance where you're like on an exotic beach somewhere or you have these lavish dates with the country artist playing at the end of the date, but just something, back to the basics of, traditional forms of courting, so to speak. So, we also had Miss Remy's parents and her sister be a part of the process and who they felt like some of the suitors that stood out. The one thing I'm questioning is the friend, including the friend in this, including Miss Remy's best friend, because I do not know with some of these men's dating preferences if they are genuinely into Miss Remy or if they are trying to be into Miss Remy to get to her friend, because I saw some of the looks that they gave when the friend walked in and I was like, I don't know if I like this. And it also could potentially be on purpose that they might be screening her for a spinoff if this gets a second season. So there was all types of thoughts like running through my mind as to, okay, are these men like really into Remy or are they feeling her friend and are just, trying to say and do anything to stay? Like, what is the tea? So I don't know if that's going to be an issue moving forward. I hope that they're able to weed out the men who are not there for the right reasons, because that would really suck if, Miss Remy chose somebody in the thoughts of thinking that her and that particular suitor could go the distance, and then we find out it didn't work out, or they were secretly, actually more attracted to her friend or something along those lines. Because we know how messy these reality shows can be. So basically the family comes in first. They get an opportunity to meet all the suitors. Some of them are funny. You have like a singer, a surfer guy, a doctor, just all walks of life, all different types of diversity. I don't know all of the men's names yet. I do find it interesting. They want us to refer to the men by their last names. However, some of these last names I don't remember is the problem. So, I don't know moving forward how that's going to go. So we'll see. So I'll just have to kind of describe it as to maybe by their occupations or where they're from for right now, and go from there. This seems like, though, this might be a quicker reality show compared to some of these other dating shows that last at least 10, 20 episodes. This is giving me like a 6 to 8 episode, like fast track. Like maybe they were only filming for a few weeks. Low key is what it's giving. So anyways, the family, they get to meet some of the guys. They all get to kind of, reconvene on who they felt out of the 16 men stood out. And then they do this grand entrance reveal for Miss Remy, and she just blows everybody away in this red dress. She low-key kind of gives me some resemblance of Rachel Lindsay, who was the lead on The Bachelorette a couple of seasons ago. She was giving me kind of those vibes a little bit, and she looks like a ringer for Taylor Page, the actress who was on Hit the Floor. Like, I kept looking at her and I'm like, is this Taylor Page? Like, what is, like, she looks just like her to me. And it could have just been a hairstyle she had or what have you, but I just felt she just looked so much like her. So there was a grand entrance. For the most part, most of the men appeared to be, you know, impressed with her, attracted to her, and so forth. However, some of them were just trying way too hard and making way too many mistakes, and it just gave off bad vibes, unfortunately. Then it was funny because one of the suitors, a couple of the black men, they were talking and they were like, man, and she's a sister. And I just cracked up. But I'm here for it because they probably weren't expecting that with this format of a type of show, that they were getting a black female lead. So I know they were pleasantly surprised with that reveal. Also, there was a moment, you know, Miss Remy, she's like perusing around. One thing I forgot before I continue with that is the men had to learn calligraphy, and they had to write a letter of like a little bit about themselves, what their intentions are. And so Remy was reading them out loud in front of her parents and her sister and her friend. And however, you know, there was one letter her mom was reading where it was talking about sexual tension and all this other stuff. And everybody was all confused because they were like, well, wait a minute, like, you don't even know who this person is yet. And you're like saying all these things that you wouldn't know yet unless you actually met them. So it was just very bizarre. They pretty much, like, the one that stood out, that actually I felt stood out as well, was the first letter that, you know, Miss Remy ended up reading, which was from a guy that was, you know, it sounded like he liked to laugh, liked to eat, made a joke about having Tums on standby, but it was just hilarious. And to follow the scent of his cologne and to draw you in. And I thought, you know, he was very intentional and he took the letter seriously to identify. It was not like a big deal in terms of the things that he mentioned, but it was the way that he mentioned those things to make himself stand out compared to the others. Because, of course, everyone is going to sell themselves in a letter and say, you know, that they're educated, that they're this, that they're that, and they know how to do this, and they know how to do that. But what gets these people on these shows is something quirky about them, is something weird about them, is something entertaining about them that is going to have them stand out, is going to leave a lasting impression on you. And so I was, you know, happy at least for that Miss Remy was able to quickly identify that is, you know, one of the potential things that she was looking for, which was somebody who could make her laugh. And the way that he delivered that joke is kind of showcasing a little bit about who he is as a person versus him just trying to sell himself like this is a job interview. So that I really appreciated. Also, so we'll fast forward back to when Remy is introduced and has her grand entrance, is meeting the different guys. And there was just a couple guys who were just like really weird, really awkward. They were so thirsty. And it was just like, you guys, calm down. Like the one guy, I liked the gentleman who went to an HBCU, although I was a little concerned because it seemed as though Miss Remy didn't know what he was talking about. So I was like, I'm hoping that was just editing and they had like a weird reaction spliced in there. But I was like, but then she also said she was in Seattle. So it could be either way, you know, like you don't know, but I was a little shocked. But it felt like, I think for him, he was, again, doing that selling him of himself and trying to sell like, oh, I'm educated. Oh, I'm this. But he wasn't putting forth the effort in getting to know Remy. And I think ultimately that's what turned her off of him. And it wasn't based off of like looks or what he brings to the table or this and that. It was just more so he seemed very much like self-important, self-promotion, that sort of thing, and not about trying to get to know Remy. So I think she clocked that immediately. And, that is where things kind of got a little weird or what have you as we move forward in the episode. So then we also, have this doctor who's here, and he's an anesthesiologist, and Miss Remy's mom is also a physician. I want to say she's an anesthesiologist because there was a weird moment later where somebody was talking about her mom and them being in the same profession and them having the same specialty, but then says that she's an obstetrician, and then the music does a skirt, like, that's the wrong answer, that's the wrong physician specialty, what are you talking about? So then from there, the family court get to decide 6 suitors that they can have like a private date of, some desserts, some, different things to kind of, again, get to know Miss Remy on a smaller group scale. And so it was pretty interesting. So they had, the Asian gentleman who wrote that letter about sexual tension. And so she was telling, him how her mom was the one that read that letter. And then the surfer guy with the long blonde hair, he's up here talking about, going bareback. And it was funny because I think that Miss Remy's mind immediately went to the gutter until he clarified and said that he was discussing riding horses without a saddle. So it was just hilarious altogether because I was all confused myself and I didn't know where that conversation was going. So it was interesting. I felt like of the 6 men that were chosen, like it was kind of like not really like the top 6, I would say personally, that really stood out. So I don't know if that was intentional, as maybe like the top 6 that maybe the family felt as though potentially were in danger or might need additional one-on-one time, that I was confused about. Also, at the top of the balcony, Miss Remy did meet up with the gentleman who wrote the letter, the first letter that she read that stood out, and she went to go, smell his cologne and all this and that. And so it was a very nice vibe that they have, a very nice connection that they have. So it kind of looks like from the way the edit is going and the way that he's had so many confessionals tonight, that I feel like he's going to go far in this process. So I could be wrong, but I feel like based off of the edit he got tonight that he is going to go pretty far. However, whoever the people are that are going to be in the finals, I am not sure yet because I feel like they're doing some trickery as of now. But then from there, after, Miss Remy met with the 6 different suitors, they then had to have her go and deliberate, which was to figure out which of the men is going to be eliminated. And so the elimination is a little bit different because they are doing a farewell dance in the person who is actually going home. So it kind of was giving me Last Dance, Last Chance for Love. So it's like, what is going on? So originally I thought it was just going to be like a bottom 3 and maybe one person got sent home. But in fact, they had Miss Remy deliberate over 6 men to put in the farewell dance, and half of them would be going home and she would be keeping 3 of them. So it was just very interesting because I was trying to see the vibes. I was trying to see, okay, who's potentially going, and the 6 men that were chosen, they had to stay put. The rest of the men got to go up to the balcony area and overlook and see what's happening. And so kind of a couple of my picks that I felt have the best chance of going to the end, I felt they were already, they weren't even a part of this, bottom 6 business. So then from there, Rachel was doing these dances. It kind of looked like a mix of a waltz and some other type of hand dances and things. So I was also wondering in the back of my mind as I was watching this, I was wondering how long these men had to go through dance lessons and calligraphy lessons and all these other things for this show. Was there a sequester for 2 weeks and they had to go through all of this, training for, this type of time period piece of a reality show and this and that. So it was just very, 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 very interesting. And so the one thing I didn't like about the farewell dances, and I hope it improves for future episodes or if this gets renewed for another season, is that the way that these dances were going, the way that they were so accelerating, was you can hear them out of breath in their microphones. And so as a viewer, it was like, you know, you hear the guy's trying to plead his case and he's like, I'm trying to prove myself to you. And if you keep me here longer, I'm going to know like what, you know, I'm going to show you that I'm here for you. So it was like, what is going on? What is going on? Make it stop. And so I don't know if they need to do like slower music or if they need to do a better approach to this, you know, farewell dance business. But it was just like, like it was like dogs in heat or something. And it was just too much. I was like, okay, we've got to revamp this whole elimination thing, because it was just too much. Like we need to do like a very slow waltz or something. Let's not do all these hand dances, changes, flipping around and all this other nonsense where the person's like literally beatboxing on the mic and you can't hear them or you need subtitles. Like make it stop. So that was just like a little weird. And so she sent home the gentleman who was went to the HBCU. He seemed like he was happy to go. He didn't seem like he was really into it anyways. And then she also sent home the doctor who was like pulling out all the stops. The problem with the doctor was he was too thirsty. He was too thirsty. And I think he thought because he was a physician that he had an in. And the problem was he was just moving mad. He was just putting on way too much. Then he tried to give her like a rose chakra necklace at the end that means love. And it was just too much. It's like, okay, this show is about, you know, traditional forms of courting and you're already trying to like drop in gifts now that you are at risk of being eliminated. It just seemed way too try hard. So I was glad she eliminated him because he was doing a lot. But then he was shady because then he goes as he's leaving. He's like, you're making a mistake. And I'm like, these men are a mess. These men are an absolute mess. So that was that. And then there was another elimination that I actually felt might have been the wrong choice because this guy was crying and everything in his confessional. Like he didn't want to go, like he didn't have a chance. So I am wondering if possibly he might be one of those suitors that might have an opportunity to come back to the show. I'm not sure, but that was the vibe that it was giving me, that his emotional exit was so dramatic and was so like, you know, this is the one and all this and that maybe he might come back later. Who knows? So we're left now with the 13 men. From there, we get this season preview of what's supposed to happen. So we see like sword fighting. We see all these different dates. Oh, one other thing I wanted to add. So there was a private date, a one-on-one date that Miss Remy had with this guy from New York who's a real estate agent, and he was talking about how he has like a very old real estate listing similar to like this castle that they are all filming the show in, and they're outside on a blanket having champagne, and then all of these fireworks kind of go off, and he takes the opportunity to try to kiss Miss Remy on the first night of the show after only being there for, so many hours. And he's already like trying to get that first impression and leave the impression as well. So also one other thing I wanted to note is it was giving me Bridgerton vibes because I don't know if you guys noticed, but when the show started, it was like a string quartet version of Don't Stop Believing that was playing. And I was like, oh, they're just taking all this from the Bridgerton playbook of, having all of your popular music now be in some type of orchestra, string or quartet type of version. And I wonder if it's going to be a theme for the rest of the season, or if it was just something to kind of go along with, the episode or what have you. So I guess we'll see moving forward if this is going to be a thing where there's going to be like a string quartet version of all of your popular songs that you guys all know and love. But it will sound like either an orchestra or string, like it'll just sound completely, different from the original. But I immediately picked up on it as it was playing. So back to our season preview, like I said, they showed, you know, some of the men, they were like doing some type of challenge where they were fencing. They also showed, you know, some of the different dates. They showed the one guy who like is a singer and how he's singing. And so some of the men kind of felt a certain type of way and or looked shook, depending on who it was. Then there was a black guy who was telling Miss Remy that, hey, we're going to be here in the end. Like, this show is over. And then it looks like at some point in the middle of the show, they either bring back a former suitor that was eliminated, or potentially they bring back an ex. I don't know. But it was very dramatic by the reaction. Miss Remy already knew who the person was. So it could either be a former suitor or a former person that she knew from her past or something. I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see for that. But, I mean, I think it's a decent start to the show. Like I said, it's a very different approach compared to a lot of these other dating shows. And it kind of takes things back into the basics. Like, we're not forced to be a part of, like, the glitz and the glam and all these other superficial things, or people, like, in bikinis and sports. Like, it's not, like, all of this madness where it's very much, like, everybody is, you know, trying to really get to know the person for who they are and trying to do traditional things like something of meaning, like writing a letter about their feelings, like genuinely trying to get to know the person and get to know qualities about them, and not everything being just so completely superficial and closed off and selling like a dream in paradise for a few weeks, only for, you know, it not to work out afterwards. So I'm going to continue to tune in. I am curious to find out what your guys' thoughts are. Did you guys enjoy the show? What do you feel like? What were your highlights? What were your lowlights? Do you think this show has potential to be renewed for future seasons? Do you think that they will do a spin-off version where there's a male lead as well for the courtship and having women write him letters? I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. I will have to say shout out to NBC because they are coming for CBS and ABC's next, especially with now having a dating show. And they're coming out with some type of Survivor type of show that I can't wait to see. I guess it's like about 100 people for like 50 days on an island somewhere, and they can win like $1 million. So it's, so we'll see what comes of that. That's supposed to be premiering soon. But I'm fine with it competing with Survivor because Jeff Probst is just like out of his mind with all of these twists and all of these crazy things that he's been implementing lately. So it would be a nice change for some of these new shows to give a kick in the pants to some of these long-running reality shows of, you know, just sticking to the basics, just sticking to an original formula that works instead of going completely rogue to the point that your fans are frustrated. Because for me, I felt watching The Courtship tonight was a nice change from The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Love Island. Like, it was just a nice change from those shows to break up the monotony and just see something completely different, see a completely different vision. But like I said, the biggest thing is they need to work on this elimination process with the farewell dances, because we can't have continued beatboxing on the mic and these men out of breath in the middle of a dance trying to tell them, I'm gonna try if you keep me here. Like stop it. Like, stop all of it. It was just too much, you guys. It was absolutely too much. So hopefully that improves moving forward. And we will see from there. So we're down to 13. And like I said, we will be back next Sunday to see what takes place with the next, set of episodes that are in store for us. So let me know your guys' thoughts. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I will talk to you guys again soon.